The New York Jets have made a decision on whether or not they should trade DJ Reed. Was it the right choice or the wrong choice? Let's get this party started.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas. Boy Green Daily starts now. Zoinks!
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
What's going on, everybody? Paul Esden Jr., a.k.a. Boy Green. I'm the New York Jets digital reporter for Heavy.com. Welcome to Boy Green Daily, a daily New York Jets video show, also available wherever you get your podcast. Welcome to the program here on a Sunday. No Jets game. They already handled business a couple of days ago, so a stress-free Sunday for Jet fans. Very, very, very nice. Absolutely. So appreciate you guys joining us this morning, and we got a full article in the YouTube description down below. Feel free for you guys to check that out on the topic of conversation, and it is this. The NFL trade deadline is Tuesday, November 5th, Election Day, and what the New York Jets were going to do was ultimately decided on Thursday. Figuring out, whether or not they're going to trade pieces or not trade pieces. And the big player that could have given the Jets their biggest return was veteran cornerback DJ Reed, a very talented player who, heading into either this week or last week, was the number one rated corner by PFF coverage grade, and now he's still inside the top 6. So he has performed very well. He's on an expiring contract, and would the Jets decide to trade him? According to Diana Rossini of The Athletic, no is the answer to that question. The Jets will not be trading DJ Reed, despite the fact that he's on an expiring contract, despite the fact that it may be difficult to envision the New York Jets retaining him. They re-signed Michael Carter II right around the start of the season. He's the highest paid slot corner in football. Sauce Gardner is eligible to discuss a new deal coming up at the end of the 2024 regular season. And would the Jets give a fair market value deal to DJ Reed to pay a third corner? It's an interesting question, and one that, I'm going to be honest, I'm not so sure whether they will do. I'd love for them to do it. I love DJ Reed, the player. I love what he represents. It would make a lot of sense to bring him in. But is it realistic? Originally, when he signed with the Jets, it was a 3-year deal for $33 million, $11 million per year. And he's played better than what they could have possibly hoped for. So he's going to be looking for a raise, and rightfully so. But with how everything's going on, would the Jets be willing to invest those resources into that position, which puts the Jets in a tough position? Because are you just going to, as Alan is already saying in the comment section, by the way, real quick, let's flip the emoji countdown. We're 32 members away from Phil getting his emoji. We'll see if we could get that sooner rather than later. You guys can join the Boy Green Coffee Club. That is the pinned comment on YouTube right now. It's also down in the YouTube description down below. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club here. It's only $2.99 a month. Helps you support the show, so feel free to do so. But I raised that question, by the way, to the pollsters because Daniel Popper, who covers the LA Chargers for The Athletic, floated out there in the universe that the Chargers should probably call the Jets and offer a 4th-round pick for DJ Reed. And Connor Hughes of SNY believed that the Jets could have gotten a 3rd-rounder if they decided to trade DJ Reed. So anywho, I asked the fans what they thought, and we got over 1,000 votes in. Your two choices were yes, going to lose him anyway, or no, F that. And that got 85% of the votes. No, F that. There's no way that we want to trade DJ Reed. And there you go. They are not going to trade DJ Reed. For me, the Jets are 3-6. That's not a great record, but the Jets believe they can make a run. And if they have that belief in that room, obviously having DJ Reed on the roster increases your chances of winning. So go all in, and hopefully there's some sneaky, unique way that I'm not envisioning that there's a way to keep DJ Reed, because he is one of the best free agent acquisitions in New York Jets history. Free agency was introduced in the mid-90s. And if you look at from that time to now, the last 20 years, the Jets have had a lot of misses in free agency. It's very rare for them to have the hits the same way that they do, or that they could have. And it's great that DJ Reed has been one of them. Shout out to MFC mother_effing_chew for gifting a membership, baby. We love to see it. We are now 31 members away for Phil. We're getting closer and closer. MFC, thanks for your contributions, my friend. Absolutely terrific. Beautiful, as a matter of fact, here on the program. You love to see it. We are 31 members away. Let's introduce that new member of the Boy Green Coffee Club. That is Brian Farrell. Welcome back, baby, to the Boy Green Coffee Club. We appreciate you. So thank you for spreading the love. The other player, apparently the New York Jets have received calls on, by the way, a quick random diatribe, is Garrett Wilson. And I just want to go on a mini rant here if I can. And yes, the Discord link is now available for you, Brian Farrell, and anyone else, by the way, who is gifted or buys their own membership to the Boy Green Coffee Club. You get access to our Discord channel where conversations go well beyond the show. And it's a great community. But real quick, I just want to go on this rant, for lack of a better word, on Garrett Wilson and how annoying I'm finding this coverage, if I'm being honest with you. So this is, I'm just going to read the quote from Diana Rossini. And to me, I feel like this just stirs up a lot of drama that doesn't exist. Okay. So here's her full quote, because I want to make sure I give it the proper context. Okay. And this is where the DJ Reed thing came from. But quote, "It shouldn't come as a surprise. The New York Jets have received calls about the availability of wideout Garrett Wilson and corner DJ Reed, but after Thursday night's win, I don't expect New York to move them. You could throw Devontae Adams in there too if you thought team owner Woody Johnson was going to get crazy." Okay. I understand the conversation for DJ Reed. Whether or not the Jets are going to trade him, that's newsworthy. He's on an expiring contract. He's a very talented player. The Jets have already invested resources into their cornerback room. Would they invest again? Would they re-sign him? There's a lot of questions. So it's a fair conversation about DJ Reed. It's not a fair conversation about Garrett Wilson. It's a stupid conversation. He's in the middle of his rookie contract. There is no way on God's blue earth that the Jets were going to trade him. The way this is phrased, it shouldn't come as a surprise the Jets receive calls about the availability of Garrett Wilson and DJ Reed. Sure. Okay. Yeah, it's no surprise. I'm sure the Chiefs receive trade calls about Patrick Mahomes, and then the Chiefs answer phone, go, and then they hang up. But the way she phrases this, but after Thursday night's win, I don't expect New York to move them. Let me just provide this nugget. The Jets are not trading Garrett Wilson because of their win on Thursday Night Football. They're not trading Garrett Wilson because he is a terrific player on the New York Jets. Let me give you another thing here, okay? There are teams in the NFL that receive trade inquiries every day. Like, for instance, try to think of a great play. CeeDee Lamb. Hey, Cowboys. So this is a trade call, right? Hey, Dallas Cowboys, CeeDee Lamb available? No. Cool. Boop. Phone hangs up. Okay? That's a trade inquiry. Is that something to report on? No, that's not news. That's not newsworthy. The Jets receiving trade calls for Garrett Wilson and then the Jets telling them to pack it is not news. So I hate when that gets reported and shared, and then because it creates a sense of fear tactic among the fan base that the Jets have taken phone calls on Garrett Wilson, or like the Jets are shopping Garrett Wilson. The Jets are not doing any of those things. Garrett Wilson is a member of the Jets. He's coming off this spectacular game. He's having a really good season. He still has 2 more years of cheap control after 2024. That is his 4th and 5th year options that are absolutely in there. Garrett Wilson is a superstar. The Jets have him under control for at least 2 more years, but they could have him even 2 more years after that with the franchise tag. So the Jets have control for him over the foreseeable future. I don't understand why we report this as news and then we have like us talking about trade rumors about Garrett Wilson, because those are absolute, excuse my Guatemalan, but it's bullshit. I don't understand why we do it. I don't understand why it comes up. It just seems bizarre. And exactly like Hennessy Heisman just said is what I said earlier about, I'm sure the Chiefs get calls about Mahomes. That's what I'm saying. You get calls and then they hang up. Like, I just don't understand why we go a little bit crazy on this kind of stuff about that sort of thing. Again, the DJ Reed conversation is a healthy conversation where you can have. Like, Alan is going to call in at some point, I'm sure, when I open up the phone lines, and he's going to give a very articulate explanation of why the Jets should consider trading DJ Reed so they don't lose him and maybe just get a comp pick in the future. And the comp pick isn't guaranteed because it depends on the money the Jets spend. Like, there's all this rationale of why maybe you should trade DJ Reed right now. And that, to me, again, is a worthwhile conversation. We can weigh the pros and cons of keeping and pros and cons of trading away. That is a legitimate conversation. Garrett Wilson is absolutely not a legitimate conversation. It's not now. Maybe it'll be in a couple of years when he's in a contract year and the Jets are dragging their feet on a contract extension or something. Okay, maybe, but not now. So I just hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Absolutely hate how that's being portrayed. And then now, like I said, a trending topic on Twitter yesterday was absolutely about whether or not the Jets are going to flip Garrett Wilson, which again is absolutely ridiculous. If the Jets did that, that would be one of the most moronic things they've ever done. And I don't care what trade package they get, it would be ridiculous. Garrett Wilson is a foundational piece of this offense right now and moving forward. DJ Reed, again, looks like he will not be traded, which, again, I think is a healthy conversation. Mike Williams, by the way, we talked about this yesterday, is also not expected to be moved. So it looks like Trader Joe, a.k.a. Joe Douglas, who's been making a lot of moves ahead of deadlines in the past. It does not sound like we're going to get any action, whether selling or buying. I think they could still use a couple of things. Again, we talked about defensive tackles, whether it's a pass rushing defensive tackle in the vision of Quentin Jefferson, or it's a big run stuffing Hog Molly potentially, because there's a couple of guys that are available on the trade deadline. I was reading through some other things for the Jets, but it sounds like they're just going to kind of ride with what they have or potentially add things in free agency. Another thing I wanted to bring up before we open up the phone lines is the New York Jets are going to have some much needed rest after all of these weird weeks and different things with Thursday night football and Monday night football and Sunday night football and all this other stuff. Here's some rest coming for the Jets. Shout out to Rich Samini, who had this in his column this morning. The Jets only have 2 games in the month of November. So we're now in the month of November. The Jets only have 2 games. It's the Cardinals on November 10th. It's the Colts on November 17th. Their bye is November 24th. So if you put all the pieces together, the Jets are going to get some much needed rest here after a crazy start to their season. And boy, do they need it. When you go through all the injuries of Likey Focho on IR, Alan Lazard on IR, Aaron Rodgers, everything he's been dealing with. I mean, go through the gambit of guys that are banged up. CJ Mosley's very serious neck situation. There's been a bunch of guys questionable. Michael Carter II hurt his back again. So there's all kinds of things that are kind of put together with this team that they could very much use the rest, and we'll see if they can. Dakota says, extend DJ Reed today. SG_31 Black says, how much would we pay DJ Reed for the next 2 or 3 years? Okay, that's a good conversation. Let's see this. Okay, so DJ Reed, when he first signed with the Jets 2.5, 3 years ago, when he was like 25, the Jets paid him $11 million per year in a 3-year deal for $33 million. Very well market value. Some people even thought the Jets overpaid for DJ Reed. Now, he has performed like one of the best corners in football. Let's go to the highest paid cornerbacks in the NFL. So he made $11 million per year on his last contract. Let me try to find some comparable stuff here for DJ Reed, looking around the league. Well, let me do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How about this? The top 10 corners in football by salary make at least $19.1 million per year. That's the top 10 cornerbacks. And I think we could comfortably say that DJ Reed is a borderline top 10 cornerback in the league, maybe borderline top 12. Now, there is a big market difference. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The top 11 cornerbacks in football make $19 million or more per year. Okay. The 12th guy on that list, Carlton Davis, makes $14.8 million. That's a $5 million gap, or if you want to make it a $4 million gap and change, or we want to be specific. So there's a massive gap between Jalen Johnson and the next guy on the list, which is Carlton Davis. I would probably venture to guess that DJ Reed's contract would be somewhere in the ballpark of $19 million per year. Put him in that borderline top 10. He's 27 right now. He actually turns 28 later this month. So so that's the conversation. Now we flip it back to the universe. Are you willing to put $19 million per year on a 2 to 3 year deal for DJ Reed? Again, I don't believe they will. I wish they would, but I don't believe they will because, again, Michael Carter II is the highest paid slot corner in football. Sauce you have to pay eventually. He can start to negotiate for the first time at the end of the regular season. That doesn't mean the Jets have to pay him, but they can start to talk to him potentially about an extension. And by the way, if I'm Sauce, I don't know if I want to really negotiate after coming off this bad year. Maybe he ends the year really strong, but if I'm Sauce, I'm probably waiting another year, to be honest, when I'm in a better negotiating position. Because I think Sauce, if he tries to get his big-time deal this offseason, I think he's going to make less money than if he was patient and waited another year. Now, there's always the pros and cons of that because obviously if Sauce gets hurt, he doesn't get the long-term security, so he could take a little less this year, which perhaps is something the Jets would be in favor of. But that's a kind of interesting conversation from that standpoint. But DJ Reed's a really good player. Dave Briga says Sauce won't be here for his next contract. I disagree. I think he's 100% getting paid. How much? We can have that conversation. Let's go to my father, Paul Eston. The real conversation is whether or not to keep DJ Reed or Sauce. Can't 3/4 making $20 million. Well, the Jets aren't getting rid of Sauce, so DJ Reed's going to be the guy. Sauce is much younger. DJ Reed is older. Eventually, when corners hit those kind of age barriers, plus consider this: DJ Reed's a smaller guy, so that's going to the wear and tear on his body is going to be a little different than a guy like Sauce Gardner, who's big and lanky and everything else. But yeah, I would love to keep DJ if we could. 3 siblings. He will stay for 17 to 18 million. Again, if he believes he's a top 10 corner, which he does, why would he take below market value of a top 10 corner deal 3 siblings? I just don't see it. If he was willing to do that, let's have a conversation, but I just don't think so. Alan says, I don't think he's getting 20 million per year. We'll see. Again, I think a 27-year-old, he'll be 28 when he's negotiating in free agency corner. I think he's going to get really, really good money. And I go to what Hennessy Heisman said. You draft corners every year. You got Quantez Stiggers. You have Brandon Eccles, who's also a free agent. I think the Jets would probably more rather sign Brandon Eccles to like a mini extension for like 3 years, 20 million, maybe something like that. He's the new starting corner opposite of Sauce. And then you have Michael Carter II in the slot. That's what I believe the Jets are going to do. I believe they re-sign Brandon Eccles to replace DJ Reed. Will that have the same impact? Well, that's a different conversation, perhaps. My father. If the Jets had lost on Thursday, it would have been time for a fire sale up to and including Wilson. Unlikely with the rebuild to need and or able to keep him. Let's go through a couple of things here. If the Jets lost on Thursday, they should have absolutely not considered trading Garrett Wilson. First off, if you traded a player like Garrett Wilson in the middle of the season, you would never get proper value. You'd be making a rash decision in a short period of time. So that would be ridiculous. Number 2, unlikely with the rebuild to need and or be able to keep him. You have I think when people talk about rebuilds, they get really convoluted. Like, just because you have a rebuild doesn't mean everyone on the team has to be making dirt cheap money and you sell off everything like you're selling a house and you're removing the copper pipes in the house to even get even a little bit more scratch or money. So to me, that doesn't make any sense. You need guys on the team. The games are still being played if you're rebuilding. There's people, there's jersey sales, there's people buying tickets. It's all over the place. So just because you may rebuild or readjust or recalibrate, I don't think that means, I'm sorry, you can't pay Garrett now. What do you mean? If you're rebuilding and all that, you have more money than ever to pay a guy like Garrett Wilson. So I'd push back on that to my father on that one. Not sure I'm picking up what he's putting down there. Let's see. Aaron says give him $15.5 million a year for 2 years. If I'm DJ Reed, I'm looking for longer security than a 2-year deal. But I can understand why you person would want to do that. And again, I think he's getting closer to 20 million. I think he's getting closer to 20. Sharon says, I'm worried the Thanksgiving bye will slow our roll. I'm worried that any period of time will slow the Jets roll. Now, Ted, I think, said this yesterday that we shouldn't, put too much on like Jets teams of the past, right? Like just because Jets teams of the past struggle with extra bye and time to prepare, that doesn't necessarily mean that this team will suffer, but they're going to have to prove it. Sco, what if Reed takes a pay cut? It's possible, but let's be honest. Why would DJ Reed take a pay cut? This is his chance. When DJ Reed got signed to the Jets, when he did his presser, you guys may not remember it, but go look back and look at his introductory press conference. He called himself one of the best corners in football. And a lot of people in Jets land kind of went, look at this guy, a lot of confidence. But when he looks at the analytics, he put himself in the Jalen Ramsey conversations. And part of the respect of your peers is getting the money, because the money is the respect. When you get the big money, right? Like Michael Carter II being the highest paid slot corner football, people will go, oh, damn. Whoa, what's going on there? So he gets extra love and attention from that standpoint. Absolutely. EZ says, won't have to pay Sauce Gardner for 2 years. Why can't we sign DJ for 2 years? When you say we won't have to pay Sauce for 2 years, I don't know how it's going to work because I don't know Sauce's personality. I've never met the guy. I don't know Garrett's or anything. Some players, probably after this year, will demand the extension immediately. Some people will be more patient. Everyone's different. The Cowboys, obviously, they had Dak, they had CeeDee Lamb, they had Micah Parsons, all these guys that want to get paid all at the same time. So we'll see how that kind of happens. They could sign DJ Reed, but again, allocating all of those resources into a singular positional group, I wonder if an NFL team will do that. We'll see. Paul, seriously, if Sauce continues his decline, do you actually believe he will be re-signed at some elevated number? Continues his decline. Okay. I think what happened is Sauce set the bar incredibly high, obviously, with his first 2 years being a first-team All-Pro. That is the highest level you can be. And because the bar is set here, if he does anything below the bar, technically it's a decline. And he has declined. I'm not trying to make excuses for Sauce. The tackling has been poor. The physicality has been poor. The tackling technique has been poor. The coverage, according to the analytics, are still very, very good, all things considered, at the cornerback position. So I think there's going to be a leveling. It's kind of like a boat in the water. He was here, year one. He was here year two. Oh, year three. Whoa. Okay. And then year four. Oh, we get back to here. Maybe it's not all pro, but maybe he bounces back. So 100%. I still think Sauce is going to be a key part of this team. My father says Sauce can't intercept a pass in Madden demo mode. Wow. What a pull. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll see. Again, some people would say he's due. We'll see if that's true. We'll see if he's due. Yeah, who are we rooting for today? That's a good question. It's a football Sunday, so let's see. All right, let's see here. Let's see all games today. We got Dolphins, Bills. I mean, you want the Dolphins to win so the Jets can stay in the AFC East for sure. And but if the Bills smack them, the Dolphins fall to 2-6. That's probably pretty good. Again, you have some of those other games like Raiders are 2-6, Bengals are 3-5. So if Raiders win, you kind of muddy up the waters with other 3-5 teams. But you have opportunities like this. So the Chargers are 4-3, the Browns are 2-6. Do you want the Browns to win to stay in the conversation? Do you want the Chargers to win to separate? You know what I mean? So there's some of those kind of conversations that'll be a little up in the air from the rooting guide. So I don't have the numbers of exactly who. I just kind of have my own thoughts as I'm looking at games and who we should be rooting for one way or the other, but it's kind of interesting. Why don't we do this? We're going to open up the phone lines, but real quick, we'll play a Hep song, and up next, we'll answer your phone calls here on a football Sunday, baby. Let's keep her rolling here on Boy Green Daily.
Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Talking just football, man. Boy Green Daily, Boy Green Daily. Daily, the New York Jets Football Club. Wow. Offense, defense, special teams. Watch the Super Bowl season with Boy Green. J-E-T-S. Jets. Boy Green Day.
Super Bowl season with Boy Green, baby. Shout out to Hep for that beautiful song and dance. We always appreciate you. The phone lines are now open. That's the pinned comment on youtube.com/boygreen25. If you guys would like to call into the show, share some thoughts and anything of that nature, you guys can feel free to call into the show. We'd appreciate it. I'd appreciate it. Let's see if we could do that. Also, let me throw this over here real quick let me throw this over. Sorry. Okay. Let's put that one in there. We might have a special guest joining us that I might have messed up, but more on that potentially later. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got Easy cooking some grits. What's up, Easy?
Yeah,
what do we got? What's going on? Oh, bacon. Oh, all right. You're going to get my dad over here with the bat signal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, there you go.
I understand, and I know this, that you and your dad love each other immensely, but sure. I do so seriously appreciate the banter that you two have in your disagreements. It's awesome. It's total father and son, and I love it. It's just great.
I'm glad other people get to resonate with that. Yeah, we do that every day.
Well, I love my son, and obviously,
sure.
But he's different from me. I'm like a metalhead.
Yeah.
I am a total hardcore rock and roll metalhead. I mortgaged my future to try to make it in the music business, and it didn't work out. So now I live in a 1-bedroom. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. But I
But,
love that you pushed all the chips in the middle of the table, you know?
But the one thing I did teach my son
Sure.
that we agreed on is
Yeah.
I said, with money, you can buy a sandwich, you can buy a bicycle, but with
Okay.
credit, you can buy cars, boats, and houses. So I taught him that. So he's
Wow.
doing really good. He bought his house last year. He's been remodeling it. I've been helping him, and it's coming out great.
When's the last time you had a sandwich?
I don't know. We have sandwiches all the time. We have money. I just told him to make sure that he had good credit.
Oh, so you could have the sandwiches and the credit.
Yeah, I got good credit.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I got good credit. Okay, but
My
I like
s-
that.
my
I like
s-
that.
My credit scores were over 800 until I missed a lousy $35 payment.
Oh yeah.
One $35 payment, I got hacked, and I switched my account to a new debit card, and I forgot to put it on auto pay. So I missed one lousy $35 payment with Discover, and it banged my credit 90 points.
Oof. That's
90 points.
Rich.
So from 800 down to 820 down to like 740 or something. It was crazy. 730.
Wow. Well, you just gotta build it back up.
Oh, yeah, it's back up. Anyway,
good.
Enough about moi. Yeah, I mean, there are creative ways to finagle the cap, because as everybody says, the cap is like it's more of a suggestion than a rule.
It feels that way, right? It's a loose.
I mean, how many? Hold on one second.
Okay.
Just take it off the high heat.
Oh, sure.
I mean, how many times have you seen teams over the cap? Oh, they're over the cap, but they still manage to keep just about everybody.
That's true.
We could keep DJ, give him like a 3-year contract, front load it a little bit, and then when they have to sign Sauce, then there's a little bit, less there. And the same with Garrett. We could front load it when we have it, figure out what our deals are going to be, where the money's going to be falling, and just like go a couple of high years, couple of low years, and then you finish off with a high year. There's ways they can do it. The only question I have right now is because Joe Douglas is in an auspicious situation where we don't know what the hell he's going to do. Yeah. So there's 2 rules. I think at this point, Woody needs to let him know whether he's going to give him an extension or not. I think that's the problem now. Do you give him a 2-year extension? Which I would do. I would give him a 2-year maybe and say, look, a lot of crazy's gone on, but I'll give you 2 more years if you don't do it in 2 years, then we're gone,
All right. Well, quick question here. We have a question in from you from Jesus Jerry Vodka. Edward, how do you like your eggs? Poached, scrambled, or boiled?
Blended.
Blended. Okay, I've never heard of that one before. What's that technique?
I put 4 eggs in here in the blender.
Okay.
And then I blend them.
All right.
And they come out nice and fluffy like at Waffle House.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay, I've had them.
If you've ever had like a Waffle House omelet, they'll put the eggs in the blender and blend the living crap out of them until they're all frothy, and then they'll put them in the pan, and they'll be about that thick, all fluffy and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really good.
Wow. Okay. Well, I wanted to get that question in from Jesus Jerry Vodka, which we appreciate, which is a great combination, obviously on the Lord's Day. Blessed be He. Appreciate
Blessed
that.
be.
Yeah,
blessed be. It's a Jets win, even though we don't have to play. What I'll probably do is I'll rewatch the game on Prime at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, there you go. I love that. That's a great technique.
I actually watched it the other day because I was trying to. I never really do this, but I was trying to dissect where the problems were.
Sure.
But it looks like when we talked yesterday, I seriously think that Corley play was absolute dead rock bottom.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah.
So after that, we couldn't go lower than that. I mean, you have a touchdown, an untouched touchdown, and he just drops the ball like literally like 4 inches from the goal line. I mean, that was just nuts.
Yeah. And
that's
by the
just
way,
nuts.
A lot of other people are jumping in here. It's Matthias. He said, I was at the game and I've already rewatched it 3 times. Yeah, I'm gonna enjoy it because you never know when the next great one's gonna be. So just keep
the next win.
Yeah, that's for sure. We'll see. Hopefully they go on this crazy run. We've seen Rodgers do it for other teams in the past. It'd be great to see it about this one.
Yeah. Anyway, let me go back. I want to eat.
Okay.
I'm listening to the show. I'll
Yeah,
take my
perfect.
headset. I'll put the sound back on the phone.
All right.
If I don't have this, I get feedback like you wouldn't believe. So
Okay. Well, enjoy your bacon, buddy. We appreciate you.
take care.
There he is, EZ, joining us here on the show. All right, Immortal Outlaws just joining us. What trade decisions about Reed are you talking about? Well, there's always a full article in the YouTube description down below. You guys can always check that out. But no, Diana Rossini says the Jets are not going to trade DJ Reed ahead of the trade deadline. That was up in the air prior to this Week 9 win against the Houston Texans, whether or not the Jets would ship him off or not. And we will see whether or not that's a good decision or a bad decision. Because if the Jets win this year, then, of course, having DJ Reed on the team as the Jets are winning is good for business. But if you lose him for nothing and you never get that comp pick, again, that's based on a complicated formula of what you spend versus what you lose and things of that nature, that one's sort of up in the air. By the way, favorite sandwich, roast beef sandwich. I like to toast my bread, roast beef, nice little Cajun spice, perhaps a nice little spicy mustard. Add that to the sandwich. Oh, baby. There you go. That's a roast beef sandwich. I'm a big roast beef sandwich guy. All right, let's head back to the phone lines. If someone said, Paul, if your last will dinner, what could you have? There'd be two things I'd request: that roast beef sandwich I just said, and Hep playing me a song on his guitar. So those would be two. Let's welcome him in. Hep, what's up, brother?
Hey, Paul, how you doing, bud? Hey,
Good.
fellas. Hey,
Did you see, by the way, Hep, real quick, did you watch the show yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay. We need your expertise on the ukulele playing that happened. A lot of people were kind of mad because the young man, Mr. Fulton, stepped on your turf. Other people were like appreciative that you've started a movement of sorts. What's your professional, analysis of the ukulele playing?
No, I like the movement bit because I've seen that on some other shows too. And Jake Asman people are starting to play music too.
See,
So
Hep, you
maybe
started a
they're getting
movement. Yeah.
No,
I
I'm
love
for
it.
the people, man. Peace. I'm for the people.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. Go ahead, Hep. What's on your mind?
I know Carly's getting a lot of shit, and he
for sure.
did a big behind, but
Yeah.
the play looked great.
Oh, yeah. The design was great. So shout out to Downing. Shout out to the blocking. I mean, execution, decision-making, timing, how they set it all up. I mean, it was wide open, and we don't see many beautifully crafted Jets plays. That probably had us more mystified than anything else. Like, wow, look, the defense is befuddled by what we just kind of pulled out here,
Yeah, I was saying, and he's fast. That kid is fast, and he's got some power to him. You can see him. So I'm sorry we weren't using him earlier in the season.
I know. How did he have one catch for 4 yards in the first 8 weeks? Like, we couldn't have used that at any point. Like, what are we doing?
So I hope they don't do the typical Jet thing now and like put him in the doghouse and give him a Mims the Mims treatment.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he looks like he's got something to bring to the table. I mean, he fucked up, but let's face it. He's a rookie.
100%. Right. We can't allow that to define. Well, we shouldn't, and he shouldn't, for what I'm about to say, allow that play to define him. It would be very easy for him to fuck up the way that he did, and then just forever be in his head like, oh man, I blew it. I'm always going to blow it. Like, you got to make sure that you kind of behind the scenes, you rest him easy and say, hey man, you fucked up, but don't worry. The next one, you're going to kill it. Like, but publicly, you got to hold him accountable, but privately, like, say, hey man, we're behind you. We're going to figure this out. It is what it is.
Do you think Sauce has any is partial? I mean, he wasn't playing great all season, but you think maybe he had a dip after Salah had left? I know those guys were pretty tight.
That could be, again, mentally. We're putting more attention on the mental than ever before for football players. That was something. If 90s, 80s, a player's going through something, he's like, I don't know. We're like, mental, like, don't be a pussy. Get back out there, buddy. So, like, we're in a completely different universe here in 2024. So, sure, for your coach, your guy that, as Sauce talked about in that first immediate interview, he was at his presser in the locker room. He was pretty emotional, saying, man, that's a guy who was, screaming Sauce on the phone. He drafted me. He believed in me. He picked me. It wasn't just him. It was Douglas and everybody else too. But sure, that certainly could have affected him. Yeah.
All right, guys, we got a little time off. Let's help and one at a time.
That's Peace it. Out. Chip, baby. Appreciate it. Have a good call. Good call. Yeah. Again, we've given Corley a lot of shit, and for good reason, because it was a stupid bleeping play. But he's a rookie. He's got a long runway ahead of him. And to be honest, let's see if we can use him. Corley's superpower coming into the league was this Deebo Samuel 2.0, breaking tackles and everything. We still haven't seen that yet. That jet sweep reverse play. Like, he didn't even have to break any tackles. Everything was perfectly designed for him to walk right into the end zone. So we'll see if we could get some of that utilization moving forward. And I believe we will. Again, Alan Lazard going on IR. There's open rep opportunities at wide receiver. You should be an active player moving forward. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We've got our boy Ricky New York live here on the show. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, how's it going, Paul?
Hey, not too shabby.
You know what? The Corley thing, I think maybe the reason we haven't seen him before now is because he's been making some mistakes. You know,
that could be shit. Just like what we saw in the game might have been happening in practice. You know,
probably not that one. I bet that one's. I bet that particular mistake is not a repeat one.
Yeah,
and I get it. You know, he thought he was crossing the goal line and he just dropped it a little bit early. But you know what? I saw Jerome Bettis do that same exact thing one time, and he wasn't a rookie when he did it. He was a vet when he did it. I mean, it happens, but I bet he won't make that mistake again. But
I hope so. Yeah.
At any rate, man, I'd love to re-sign DJ Reed, but I just don't think that financially it's going to end up being possible. I mean, they'd have to really get crazy restructuring some people and stuff to make that work. But
yeah, with everything else they have to do, you know, with Garrett and Sauce and Jermaine. And
yes,
Reed
and like you said, those guys can negotiate for the first time coming up.
Yeah.
And I don't know about Sauce, but I would definitely be negotiating with Garrett right away.
Where do we put him? So like Garrett, the highest paid wide receiver in football is $35 million per year. A lot of these good ones have gotten 30 plus. Oh, so 28 million range. Okay.
Yeah, Amon-Ra money.
Okay. That seems super reasonable. Look at what Amon-Ra has done. Like, Garrett hasn't even done any of those things. Like, Amon-Ra has had some crazy ass seasons, but I agree. I'd be willing to pay him Amon-Ra money, you know, that 27, 28 million.
You know what? Garrett back-to-back 1,000-yard years, and look what he's doing right now. I mean, Garrett's doing quite a bit. So, I mean, I don't know. I would, for whatever reason, I find those two comparable. And so that's, you know, where I would say with the money on that one.
Yeah, Garrett right now has got 60 catches, 600 yards, and 5 touchdowns. The touchdowns are a new career high. His average is looking pretty good. He's the first Jets receiver to ever have 60 catches through the first 9 games of the season. So it's obviously, if this train keeps rolling, he's going to have 100-plus catches for the first time ever, which would be terrific, obviously. And then his numbers are in the 1,200 range. That would also be a new career high. So, yeah, he is set to get paid at the right time, it seems. Oh, I think we lost Ricky. Nope. Let me try to whoop. We lost Ricky. Sorry about that, Ricky. Must be the Wi-Fi went out. But yeah, Alan said Amon-Ra got 4 years, 120. 120 million on the money. Yeah, I think that is. Let me double check, because like I can sometimes be an idiot with my math. So highest paid wide receivers NFL. Let me see officially where he stands. I remember him being in like the 28 million range, but let me see. We have them all up here. Okay, I was off. It's 30 million per year. That makes more sense with the money. So here are the highest paid wide receivers in football. Then we'll get back to the phone lines. Justin Jefferson 35 million. CeeDee Lamb 34 million. This is per year. AJ Brown 32. Amon-Ra 30. Tyreek Hill 30. Brandon Ayuk 30, and then you have some of the guys that signed this offseason. Jaylen Waddle's 28. Devontae Adams is up there too. You got DJ Moore just got signed 27.5. Cooper Kupp 26.5. So, you know, I'd be comfortable anywhere in that 25 to 30 range. Probably is probably a safe place for him to go, I think. But we'll see. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We've got B-Mac on the program. What's up, B-Mac? Mac with the B.
Hey, Paul. Good morning to you.
God bless.
Happy Victory Sunday, I guess.
Hey, there we go. Yeah, it's been Victory Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I love it. It's great energies, great vibes.
Hey, Paul, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Can you pull up Aaron Rodgers' stats and
Sure.
Patrick Mahomes' stats and Dak Prescott stats, all three together?
Okay.
And can you just read them out loud on
all right.
all
Dak
three?
Prescott stats. Okay. And Patrick Mahomes stats. Okay. I believe I have them all here. Let's see. Actually, let me get the last on Mahomes. All right. So we'll start with Mahomes. Okay. This season, he has a 68% completion percentage, 1,600 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, 9 picks. He has more picks than touchdowns. All right, let's go to old Dak attack here. Oh, God, this is worse than I thought. Dak is a 63% completion percentage. That is near a career low. 1,800 passing yards, 10 touchdowns, 8 picks. Disgusting. All right, let's go to old Aaron Rodgers here. Oh, wow. Aaron, 62% completion percentage. Not great, but 2,100 passing yards. Nice. 15 touchdowns, 7 picks. Wow. Freaking Aaron Rodgers has double the amount of passing touchdowns that Patrick Mahomes has. Did not have that on the bingo card. Okay.
Can you read out their passer ratings?
Oh, passer rating. Sure. Yeah. We have Aaron Rodgers an 88.4, Dak Prescott 84.5, Patrick Mahomes 84.9.
Oh, okay. Because, yesterday, Pop was saying that he's like bottom of every single statistical category. I'm like, okay. I looked up the stats. Now, what you said, it sounds like Rodgers has been outplaying both Mahomes and Dak this year.
That's what it seems like by the stats, yes.
And then I look up the rankings last night, and Rodgers is 4th in passing yards right now. And I think he's 3rd in touchdowns and 3rd in completions.
Wow, yeah.
Something
Top 5
like
in all
that,
those
Pop?
categories. Yeah.
Oh,
Pop,
I don't know,
yeah.
Pop. Yeah.
Well,
Pop,
here's some advice for Pop.
Advice.
Yeah, so here's some advice too. We could both share advice. Okay, Pop, reading is up and down, left to right. So that's a good way to do it on those Aaron Rodgers stats. Go ahead, B-Mac. You have some advice for him? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I got some advice for Pop. Pop, worry about you trash ass Cowboys. All right,
wow.
Worry about that trash ass quarterback, that overrated quarterback you got.
Oof.
Worry about that overrated head coach who Aaron Rodgers made. Carry his fat ass to the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And Pop, stop it with the Rodgers hate, man. Stop it with the Rodgers haterade. I get it. The man killed your team for so long. You know what I mean? He sent your team home, for so long. I get it. It kind of hurts Pop. It hurt. Trust me. As a Packer fan, watching Russell Wilson and the Seahawks, break all hearts.
Sure.
I hated Russell Wilson. I still hate Russell Wilson. And you have the same thing for Rodgers. You hate Aaron Rodgers because he breaks your team's hearts every single time he goes up against them. And it just makes you cry, Pop. It just makes you so sad. You know what I mean? And you know what, Pop? Take some cayenne pepper and water. Maybe that
has medical healing properties. Yes.
Yeah. Call up Rodgers. No, matter of fact, don't call up Rodgers. Call up Thomas Morstead because he gave that to Rodgers.
Go directly to the source.
Sing you it to you. You know what I mean? Sure. Take it.
Sure.
Calm you freaky down, as King Lowe's said.
Calm you freaky down. Okay.
You know what I mean? And just, and it can probably help you, open up your mind a little bit more because, and the saying that, Rodgers shouldn't be calling out Corley. First of all, he was, it was a joke. It's not like he flat out called out Corley. He said,
it was indirect. Yeah.
Like, it's a fact though. Like, if
sure.
Corley would have made that stupid play, the Jets would have had 28 instead of 21. You know what I mean? It's not we're saying he was wrong. Like, it's okay. Peyton Manning can call out his guys publicly and Brady, but again, Rodgers held the different standards. Than those guys. I don't get it. Rodgers is the first ballot Hall of Famer, just like those guys as well. So,
yes.
But hey, for different strokes for different folks. And Corley, my kind of Corley, act like you've been there before. Not to do that.
Barry Sanders. Hand the ball to the ref.
Yes, you're a rookie, but you played PV, high school, and college football. And I'm pretty sure they told you not to do something stupid like that. So that's all I gotta say, Paul Boy Green. Pop, calm your freaking down. All right.
Calm your freaking down. It's good advice. I love it. B-Mac, thanks for the call. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Pop joins us on the show.
Yeah. So I'd just like to say two things. I have no response. I say that fact A is a lion doesn't concern himself with the bleeding of sheep.
Oh, okay.
And fact 2, we need 2 moron shirts. One is I'm a moron that some callers could easily wear. Not saying any names, maybe a sheep. And, then the regular moron shirts.
Okay.
But my only concern, and I think it was EZ that said, I think the Jets do need to do something now with Joe Douglas. I think there is.
Oh, yes, he said that. Right, he should know his future. Basically, is what Easy
right.
said.
I don't give a shit if he knows his future or not. The Jets need to know their future, and what I mean by that is this: let's be honest, right?
Okay.
If the Jets are to make the playoffs, it's a long shot, right? It's
the Jets making the playoffs or something with Joe Douglas, you're saying?
No. I'll just talk about the Jets. Right now, it's a long shot for the Jets to make the playoffs.
Correct. It's like a 27% chance or something.
Yeah, it's a shot in the dark, if you will, from Survivor, right?
Hey,
so with that being said, you need to at least start making plans. And you either do that by giving Joe Douglas another, because this is a pivotal year. I'm not a give someone another year guy, and definitely I'm not sure I would give Joe Douglas another year. But right now, I would decide, right, what are we going to do for 2025 with our general manager? Because right now, decisions have to be made. You're entering a logjam year like the Cowboys had this past year with some of these contracts coming up. Mm-hmm. You've got to decide, are we okay if Aaron Rodgers favors us to come back? Do we want him to? And I just say, forget, whatever crystal ball colored stats you want, right? He has not played well. It's the worst year of his career. And do you want him to come back? That's a decision that the Jets have to make. And then if he's not going to come back, we need to start figuring it out. Are we going to draft? Do we have what we need? Are we going to draft what we need? What are we going to do? And so right now, that's the danger, right? So this season, we're not saying it's a loss. There's a 1 in 4 chance, shot in the dark chance. We're not giving up. However, you do have to look, okay, what are we going to do with these contracts? What are we going to do for a quarterback in 2025? Pull Aaron Rodgers in. You got to let us know, man. What are you going to do? Because we have to make adult decisions here. And so it's either with Joe Douglas or without. I would make the decision now. That was my only point for the day because, right, next season is now. And I'm not saying cutting people or anything like that, but you got to start formulating your plans. Because if you wait to the end of the season, now you're behind the 8 ball. Is Joe Douglas going to be part of these plans or not? And what else does Joe Douglas need to contribute to the 2024 season? My answer is not too much.
Yeah, so let's go through a few things here. To me, I think the only way Joe Douglas stays is if the Jets make a deep, an actual legitimate run. So you mentioned the shot in the dark to make the playoffs. That's correct. So if they make the playoffs, that wouldn't be enough for me for Joe Douglas to retain his job. They'd have to make the playoffs. They'd have to win at least a playoff game for me, for Joe Douglas to return, which means, again...
Not that win-loss has everything to do with the general manager, right?
Yeah, right. Which we were told. So in that case, Joe Douglas is going to receive a 10-year extension apparently after the season. So no. For me, first off, I want longevity. So there is no chance I'm giving Joe Douglas a 1-year extension. You're either all in or you're all out. To me, I'm all out on Joe Douglas.
Yeah, and I'm with that. But why wait? Yeah. That's my point. Why wait?
So, the one thing I would say to that is the trade deadline is in 2 days. So, to me, it's unrealistic to me if you moved on from Joe Douglas or whatever you want to call it, and Joe Blow, the intern, is making those decisions. Because who else is Woody and the business team? I don't know. So, Joe Douglas has to see out this trade deadline. Sounds like nothing's going to happen by all accounts from that perspective. And then if you have basically whatever it is, 8 games left, he might as well stay through the 8 games. What difference does it make if he's there or not there?
Yeah, so just a thought on that, right? Okay. So he's not under contract for next year, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's correct.
So you wouldn't stir the drink at all to start the hiring process now.
Well, can't he do that without it being public?
Yeah,
can't Woody start that's what I'm saying. I assume he's already doing that.
What hurt would it do to make it public? Everyone is eligible. We're going to post his job. Everybody knows his contract applies. He's still one of the candidates to continue.
But what's the benefit of it?
Job.
What's the benefit of it being public?
Because you really start looking.
Well, yeah, but they can really.
You interview one person. Yeah. As soon as you start hiring somebody to help you canvass candidates, right? It's going to be out there. So why not be transparent about it? That's all I'm saying. Because as soon as you put it out there, right, people are going to know, and then somebody's going to break the story. Don't break the story, be open.
I just feel like that could look dysfunctional. That, like, while sure, Joe Douglas is on an expiring deal, and it seems obvious to a lot of us fans that he ain't coming back, I just feel like it would look really bad to have him keep playing out. It's like a divorce not finalized yet. You're still married, and then you're like you're going really out of your way to go to a very public restaurant on the public street of taking your new hot boo thing. I don't know. Yeah, to me, it just feels unnecessary.
But as long as I think you can codify and say that he is one of the candidates. We're going to fire the best person for the Jet job. But anyways, I don't want to monopolize everything, but I do think that they have to start looking to the future. I know before, up to 2 or 3 games ago, maybe not, but now with that 1-4, with that shot in the dark, you got to think about the other side. Not to be hung up about it, but start, who is going to be XYZ? What are we going to do with these contracts that are coming up? What are we going to do with the DJ Reed? Are we going to pay DJ Reed and Sauce? That's it. So
yeah, and the time goes by really quick. To your point, that as soon as January hits, which is normally when regular seasons are ending, the Jets need to hire someone not too quick because you want to do your due diligence and process, but fast enough where they have time to assess the roster, and you got to pair them with a head coach. I imagine you probably hire GM first and then go to head coach or however that works. But rubber's meeting the road. There's no question about it.
And why not start now? So all right,
fair enough. Pop. So any last response to BMAC there? That was kind of funny on timing. You just happen to be calling in when BMAC.
Yeah, I was calling in with what I wanted to talk about, what I talked about. I have no response. I have nothing. There's nothing that I can say to the. I guess no, I'm not even going to say it. So you're trying to make me say things. I'm trying to be polite, and as we all know, that is a struggle for me.
Sure.
So I'm just leave it at this. That I always, anytime anybody speaks, I immediately I hear noise. Like, what is the origin of that noise? Well, that's the dog farting. Then I ignore the noise, right? So that's all I'm going to say.
All right. God bless. Appreciate you calling in, Pop. There he is. Okay, let's go to our next caller. It's one of our favorites, baby. Devin graces us with his presence on a Sunday in that beautiful jet green. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, BG? Can you hear me?
Oh, your voice still seems lost from Thursday night, I imagine.
Hey, man, it absolutely is, Brian. It's not getting better. I'm down here in Jersey visiting some family. Just got a couple of points. I'm going to try to be as candid as possible because, what is your opinion of the Jets' current roster?
My opinion of the Jets' current roster. There's a few concerns here or there about, again, the guard position and AVT not being able to stay healthy. So that, both short-term and long-term, that kind of messes around me. Again, only 2 games in the month of November for the Jets. Hopefully give some much-needed health to that position. Defensive tackle and running mate for Quinnen Williams is another concern of mine. Long-term cornerback, is that Brandon Eccles at cornerback 3/cornerback 2, however you want to describe it, or is that DJ Reed? Is that a draft pick? Can we take a dart throw? What in God's green earth is happening at safety? That's in my mind. Future of linebacker CJ Mosley isn't long for the Jets. He has this very serious neck spine issue, which is scaring me a little bit for him as a person. So I want to make sure he's okay. But long term there, because Jamin Sherwood's a free agent. What do you do there? And obviously long-term quarterback, we have no idea, obviously, with Jordan Travis and what's happening from that position. But putting those criticisms, concerns, analysis into a pocket, then you put them aside. I'm really excited about Garrett for obvious reasons. Brees has been running the ball really well for the majority outside of the Pittsburgh game, which looked really nice. Who else am I missing? Oh, yeah, Sauce. Obviously, that has been really underwhelming because a lot of us have Gardner jerseys out. The Jets fan base have been really excited about him. So I'm hoping, like I said, I kind of use that boat analogy that, we're riding high and then it kind of went low here with what's going on this season. And hopefully it kind of stabilizes itself. And maybe he's not first-team All-Pro. That's his consistent. Maybe it's lower, but if it's still Pro Bowl, really good corner, well, that's a great player to have at a premium position. So that's kind of a general sense. And Aaron Rodgers, who had been playing, very up and down all season, there was a little more up in that second half, which is encouraging as he continues to get healthy.
I agree with that. I agree with that completely. Now, would you say though this is a better roster than Joe Douglas inherited?
Oh,
Yes or no?
yeah, absolutely. This freaking roster sucked when he got hired. Yes,
absolutely. And we're in a better place financially as well.
correct.
So
Yes,
my
50 million in
point
cap
being
space
to
next
all
year.
of that is
Yeah.
that we've sucked for 15 fucking years, bro. Like
Yeah.
we've stunk.
Terrible.
And we have a good roster right now.
Yeah,
You
sure.
know, we have the ability to still potentially, we're still statistically in a place where we can make the playoffs.
Correct.
I'm not concerned overall right now with having a future GM. I'm fine with the job that Joe Douglas has done thus far. I'm not happy with it. I'm not in love with it. I used to be a Douglas truther. I'm not
Me
that.
too.
Wouldn't consider myself that any longer. He has sat on his ass in a couple of places a little too long for me. You know what I mean? With the punter's position, he's not learning fast enough from previous mistakes. So in that regard, I'm kind of like, I need someone that I would prefer for him to do better with that if he were to stay. Okay. But my point being is that he's put together a decent damn roster, better than we've seen in 20 years. Right. And I think the consensus of most Jets fans that's been here for 20 years would agree with that. You know, so my point is also that I'm not worried about right now. I'm worried about right now. I have a voice right now because I went to that Jets game on Thursday cheering for a win. I don't want to see losses. I don't want to think about the draft. I don't want to think about freaking we're out of it. I want to give all my energy into this season, winning this season, and you know what I'm saying, having a great season. Maybe actually making the playoffs, even if it's a wild card, you know, making the playoffs and possibly going on a run. Aaron Rodgers is going to be here next year. Now, whether or not Brick is going to be the coach, I don't know that. That depends on how the record ends. And honestly, if I'm being completely transparent with you, I don't know if I need Brick to be the coach next year. I feel like he still has a lot of learning to do. I like him on the defensive side, where he's willing to stay as a defensive coordinator and say, hey, if we were to say to him, hey, listen, we want you to stay as the D coordinator, but if you want to go out and look for other jobs, if you have an opportunity to become a head coach, hey, cool. We'll accept that. But if you want to come back here, we're going to pay you. We're going to pay you to be, you know, what you're worth, because we obviously at that point he would have taken us to the playoffs. Then let's bring his ass back, you know. But I do want an offensive-minded head coach. You know, I want someone that holds his players accountable. I would love to have Vrabel. I would like to have Vrabel.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to have him. I would like to have Brian Flores. He's a defensive-minded head coach, but Brian Flores holds his player accountable, and his offense is not bad. He's going to get a good offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? So I want someone that holds the team accountable, and that's going to keep the structure intact. We have Quantez Stagers. We don't even know what he looks like. He could be a replacement. We talked about him possibly being a replacement for DJ Reed, right? We got to see what the kid looks like. We know that the Jets like to let their players marinate. So, you know, next year he's going to get a lot more run, or he's going to get a lot more run this year if we're out of it. So we'll find out what we have in that regard. I just think we have a lot of questions, but we also have some answers, and we have to look at some pieces. I love Jordan Travis. I know I'm not alone in that. You know, I want to see Jordan Travis play, but that kid would have been a first-round pick had he not broken his leg. Like, we've all of a sudden forgotten that. We've forgotten that. Like, he's marinating for a year, looking and learning from a great backup in Tyrod and a Hall of Famer in Aaron. Like, let's just chill for a minute, man. Let's just focus on this season. Let's worry about next year. Next year, when Joe Douglas got hired, he got hired after the damn draft. He didn't even get to pick his players, right? So if he gets fired in January, my point being, I ain't worried about the next GM as long as his ass is there, you know, by March to make the picks in April, you know, and he's got a head on his shoulder to where he knows where he wants to go, you know. And so that's just my consensus right there. You know, I wish I'd have said what's up to your pop. I wish I had on here yesterday, man, but, you know, spending time with family and couldn't get on here yesterday and stuff like that, man. But Papa Heston, I love you, bro. I love your perspective. You know what I mean? I respect it. And there's a lot of legitimacy to it. But let's not panic. Let's not go into we got to rebuild this whole team bullshit. Like, fuck that. We got a damn good team. Last I checked, Devontae is a damn good player. Last I checked, Garrett had the probably catch of the year. And we're talking about, is it him or Odell that had the best catch ever in football? Like, this is what we're dealing with, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We're not utilizing Mike Williams appropriately. Like,
Definitely
that's some bullshit, you know. But my daughter went to her first game and she got a win. Bruh, how many of us can say that? My first game, I did not get a win. My daughter went to her first game. Bruh, I wish she was there, Boy Green.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, everything was phenomenal, man. I got to tell you, bro, like, it was amazing. I knew we were going to win. You know why I knew we were going to win? The weather was beautiful.
Oh, thank God. Blessed be.
Amazing. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about last time we had a Thursday night game where the weather was beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm just trying to stay positive, brother. I'm glad I got to hop on here this morning.
Yeah.
You know, and calm your ass down, Jeff fans. Like, let's go. Let's stay in this moment, man. We still got hope. There's been countless seasons by this time where the hope was completely lost. And we're like, oh my gosh, who we gonna look at in the draft? Who we gonna look at? Let's look at some college football right now because you know, maybe we could get Shador Sanders or some shit like that. I don't really want Shador Sanders. I'm gonna be honest with you. Kid is talented. I have a thing for divas, man. This is the problem with our team right now. Too many damn divas. You know what I mean? And I can see diva coming out. This kid, he's talented. He's ultra talented. And if he becomes a Jet, I will root for him because I root for the Jets.
Yeah.
But then you got to think about Deion and all that other crap. And I like
Deion's coming with him. We got a package.
Man, he's not a.
Come on down.
Yeah. Do you want that, Boy Green? You want a coach that has not?
Fun. That'd be fun.
It'll be. Hey, we're gonna get a whole lot of primetime freaking games again. Which have we really enjoyed those this year?
Love it, Devin.
Well,
Thanks for calling.
I love it, man. I love you, bro. Appreciate you so much, man. All right, bro.
All right, you have a good one. Devin, always a good call. And when you see all the comments saying good call, Devin's got street cred. Love having him on the Flippin' Show. Couple of things just because I forgot to mention my pop. Like, is Aaron coming back? What's coming back with us? Devontae Adams' contract seems to indicate that he's coming back. He had no guaranteed money initially beyond this season. The Jets restructured and re-agreed. That's a horrible way to say that, but like rework the contract with Devontae. It's a two-way street. To have some guarantees next year, that seems to indicate that Devontae's staying, which would indicate that Aaron's staying, because we are naive to think that Aaron and Devontae, as they had their conversations for weeks in recruiting, did not say, so Aaron, how long are you here? Like, that conversation had to come up, and I think Aaron's coming back. I think Devontae's coming back, and you know, of course, their opinions on who this new coach will be kind of interesting, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, and yeah. So I'll leave it there with that. All right, let's go back to the phone lines again. We got our boy FL Phil 98, baby.
Good morning, Paul. I agree with a lot of what Devin had to say. I appreciate where he was coming from on a lot of it. And the only reason I called in was what I was trying to talk about the other day is a lot encapsulated in what the conversation's been the last couple of days and with your dad today. I was trying to say from the get that we need to be patient, right? And that we don't want to make knee-jerk decisions.
Right.
And the conversation the other day just kept coming back to Sauce Gardner. If you go back and rewatch that whole episode with me and Ted, it just kept coming back to Sauce Gardner. And what I was trying to say was on a bigger picture, that there's a handful of guys that I don't want to trade at the trade deadline. It was about the panic idea of we got to do something this
immediately,
week.
Right?
And all of that got lost in the conversation because, and again, if you go back and look at it, I mean, it just kept coming back to Sauce Gardner. I tried to move on from that, kept coming back to him, and whether I want to pay him $30 million and whether I want to extend him. And by the way, when I said, we had 2 years, we got 8 games left this year, right? And then the negotiations will happen presumably next year. Okay. Correct. We don't have to make a decision right away.
No.
If we want to extend them, we can. If we want to make them an offer, if we want to go, I don't want to rehash all of that. But that's what the conversation the other day, and that's why I got frustrated because I kept trying to talk about the future and what I would do right now, and I would not have a fire sale. To your dad's points about things like, needing to hire a general manager right now. No, we don't. We got 8 games left this year. You're not going to plug a guy in right now. Is there talks going on in the background? Maybe, but guess what? The general manager of this team is and has been for weeks Woody Johnson. Okay? That's who's running the team. That's who's making the decisions. We haven't even seen our general manager for weeks while all kinds of big stuff happens. Okay? All right. And all I keep trying to come back to is maybe we go on a run this year. And that makes the same way that somehow winning one game changed everything. Yeah. Maybe we go on a run, and whether we make the playoffs or not, if they win 8 or 9, if Sauce looks a lot better, if Garrett looks great, everything can change. And all I've been trying to get to here is we don't have to worry about the salary cap. But another thing your dad said is we got to think about this, we got to think about that. No, we don't. Not yet. We're not going to be behind the 8 ball. We got plenty of time to make those decisions. And a lot of those decisions will depend on where we go from here.
Correct.
So, I mean, that was essentially all I've been trying to say. And I just don't want to make knee-jerk decisions. We've gone from this guy's the greatest in the world to he sucks and back to he's great in a matter of weeks. All right?
It's unbelievable.
Patience. And it's funny because I got impatient the other day. What I'm really trying to preach is patience.
Right. Isn't that ironic? Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I love it.
That's it, Paul. That's all I got.
Phil, thanks for the call, brother. I appreciate you. And yeah. And also just like on Sauce as just a random example that we were here. Oh, he's the greatest of all time. Then, this year geez, trade him. He's terrible. The real is always somewhere in between. I think that's always something as well. Let's go back to the phone lines. Badshaw here on the program. What's up, Badshaw?
What's up?
Hey, what's up going on, man?
Well, I'm doing laundry right now, so I'm not the best.
How's that going?
Well, there's a lot of it.
I've been there. I had to do it earlier this week. Our laundry machines are broken here at the house, so I got to go down the street. And normally we do about 2 baskets. That's like every other week. We try to do 2 baskets or something because we try to stretch. And I did laundry earlier this week, and she gave me 5 baskets. I'm like, how am I going to fit this in the car? I'm like, 5 baskets? Where did these even come from? Who lives here that we got 5 baskets of clothes, for God's sakes? So, yeah, that was I was at the laundromat for like 30 years doing 5 gosh darn loads of laundry. It was unbelievable. But, yes, anywho.
Oh, yeah. I guess it's because I watch football on Sundays, so my wife's like, you can do the laundry. I can see the TV from the laundry room. So,
okay. Good.
And it's kind of turned into when football season comes around, that's just my job. If something happens to me, I'm on my deathbed on a Sunday, then we're just not going to do laundry, I guess. I don't know.
It just ain't happening. I love that.
Exactly. But my dog tries to help me. He tries to get rid of me.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's something. There you go. Yeah.
But so with Sauce, I don't want to trade him or anything like that unless I think even Phil said the other day, if something crazy happened where somebody was like, I'll give you 2 first-round draft picks today, I'd be shipping his butt off to wherever. New England.
Wow, you would be. I don't know if I would, which is probably crazy because 2 first-round picks is a lot. But if someone called me and offered 2, I'm like, because I just really like Sauce. I remember what I saw the first 2 years, and I think he could get back to that. I know this year's been rough, but I'd still want to keep him. But I understand people because you reset the clock. Those 2 first-round picks, you get 5 more years of cheap control. Like I see in theory what people are talking about, but I don't want to trade Sauce, Garrett, Brees, Jermaine, any of those guys. I hope that they're all cores for the next 15 years. I hope.
Well, here's and I don't think I'm a fan that's like Sauce has a bad game, and I'm like, I want him gone, but
right.
He's done a lot. And at the beginning of the year, there was a lot of people like he's better than Revis and blah, blah, blah. And
right.
That's a bunch of bullshit. And I even called in and was like, I mean, Revis made the tackles. Revis made the sacks.
Sure. Interceptions.
The fumbles. And even if Revis kind of was a dick, he was our dick.
That's right.
But I'm going to tell you the other night, and I don't know who he was covering. I think it was Robert Woods. But there was a play that it's like someone caught a pass on him, and then he was injured. Do you know who that was?
I can't remember who he was covering, but let me just say, pro move. If I'm playing corner in the NFL and I get beat, I'm like, ooh, my hammy. Oh, my back. Jeez. Oh, I think I've thrown something. Doctors, medical professional, rush out here and check on me immediately. That is clearly the only reason that guy beat me. I just want that to be known.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was total bullshit. 100%.
And I don't know. I just don't want people on my team that do. And I know there's a lot of players that kind of shit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And I feel like there's been a lot of times this year, like I've been watching games, not necessarily just the Jets games, but it's like these guys go down and, they go to commercial break. They're like, oh, shit. And then I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll go run to the bathroom and I come back. And the guy's like, because it's like you'll leave. Yeah. And the guy's holding his leg and you're like, oh, shit. Mm-hmm. Like his leg just like exploded or something.
Right. Yeah.
And then they come back. And it shows them on the sidelines, and they're like sitting there joking around, laughing with their teammates. And I'm like, "What the hell happened to that guy?"
That's a good question.
But I don't
also,
know.
Real quick on Sauce, I see this from SG_31 Black. Why doesn't Sauce travel with the other team's wide receiver one? Especially since this offseason, they said he's going to travel more. I'm like, oh, great. And there have been games this season where, it's not New England. It was someone else. One of our opponents over the last couple of weeks. I can't remember who it was, but clearly they had, it was the Steelers, George Pickens. They have one good receiver. Everyone else is mid. That's the perfect game. That Sauce should go on George Pickens, and he's on Pickens for the entire game. And when Pickens is doing all these crazy-ass catches on random-ass dudes, you're like, damn. I know Sauce isn't having a great year, but, man, Sauce can't just be on that guy racing him from the field. That's why Revis and Sauce are not in the same category. And, sure, Sauce had the first 2-year first-team All-Pro thing. Revis never did that. But Revis erased a guy from the other side of the field. Until I see Sauce start doing that consistently, get the fuck out of here.
And we're talking like Andre Johnson, Steve Smith, Randy Moss multiple times.
T.O., Ocho Cinco.
Ocho Cinco. I mean, yes. And anyway, but, and I know Ted was saying, we were, a lot of people were giving him a hard time about the whole size of Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
It's not the size, the literal size of him, because he's a size receiver. But up until the other night, it's like Devontae, when he caught a pass on third down, I think the other day, it might have been second down.
Sure.
And it was 2 or 3 yards away from the first, and he cut it up and, plowed and got the first. A lot of times when Garrett catches the ball, and he can catch it, he can get it, but sometimes the thing with him is it's kind of like when he gets it, if he's not in open space, he's not going to make those breaking tackles. He does this ballerina thing where he jukes, and then it's out of bounds. And I'm like, that's the one thing that I wish he was probably a little bit more powerful of a receiver.
Yes.
That's kind of where size comes in my opinion. But
that happened twice. So in the Pittsburgh game, he caught this one. He does the basketball stuff and and then the other Steelers corners are 2 feet in front of him, kind of scratch your head, what is this guy doing? And all of a sudden, the Steelers linebacker freaking lit him up from behind. Yeah. It's and then all of a sudden, the Steelers linebackers coming at him, and Garrett had no idea, and just boom gets rushed. I'm like, Jesus, Garrett, just go down. If you're not going to do anything, I see receivers do this all the time.
Yes.
Get past, run, and Stephon Diggs, he does this all the time. If you watch Stephon Diggs tape this year, he'll catch pass, run. He thinks he's about to get whacked. He goes boop, and just falls to the ground, and just a CFL play, knee, throw the ball to the ref. Okay, let's move the line up. But yeah, Garrett, it was what was this game that just happened? Was it Houston? I think. Yeah, it was Houston. He gets a pass. It's 3rd and 3 or something, and he starts to try to do his bullshit side to side thing. I'm like, oh my god, Garrett, get the first down, dude. It's right there. And he hesitated for a second, said I should probably not, and then he gets tackle, gets a first. But if he would have done the move that he looked like he was committing to of the side to side, they wouldn't have gotten the first down. So he started to do it. Thankfully, he said, I probably should just get the first down here. So he does goof around a little bit with the East and West shit.
Okay. Yeah. I felt like Ted, it was one of those things where we were ripping him a new one. And I was I kind of see certain aspects of what he's getting at, and whatnot. Yeah. Anyway, I like every player on our team. I'm not big on Sauce.
Yeah.
I like that he likes being a Jet. I mean, that's always a plus.
Of course. Yeah, right.
I also would like being a Jet, and they're not going to pay me to stand out there.
I guess that's true. That's a good point.
I've got one more question. So if Rodgers was to play next year,
Yeah.
How many games would we give him, let's say Tyrod Taylor or Jordan Travis in the wings? If he starts out like he did this last season, what game would you want him to, somebody else take over? If he has a bad season next year,
I feel like
pull the plug.
I'm a pot committed guy normally. It's different for the play. Like Zach Wilson, okay, I've got a much quicker trigger. Aaron Rodgers being this 4-time NFL MVP and everything else, and having the problem is that Rodgers isn't just terrible, right? Okay, so the Minnesota game, fine. He had the 3 picks. Absolutely, he had the 3 picks. That was dumb. But like outside of that game, like he has moments where you're like, ooh, what happened there? And then you see Rodgers like, oh, there it is. And it's all within the same game. So to me, it would have to be like 3 or 4 games in a row of like, maybe it's not even that many, maybe it's 2 or 3 in a row where like it's an interceptions fest and things are going. Look at the beautiful Mrs. Badshaw over there. How we doing? So it'd have to be something like that for me, is that sort of thing. But no, Tyrod can stay on the bench. Yeah,
I agree with you on that. Well,
okay.
My Hardee's just got here, so I'm gonna eat me some.
Hey now. All right, there you go, Badshaw. Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you taking my call. Y'all have a good Sunday. What games are we watching? Bye.
I'd say probably Bills Dolphins. We'll see what happens, but we'll look at the games that are on. A couple of super chats coming in here. Our boy Devin, aka DNY for life. Every time we get a super chat, Jariah Luna chimes in. Wow. Good cornerbacks don't just come along, keep sauce. I agree. Again, the tackling has been questionable. The physicality has been questionable. The technique has been questionable. The coverage analytics, according to PFF and stuff, not bad at corner. So some of the corner stuff he's still doing, but some of the eye test stuff, obviously, he has not passed some of those eye test looks, if we're being honest about it. All right, another YouTube super chat coming through. Backwoods aren't cool. Zariah Luna? Wow. Sauce is overrated. His technique and coverage and tackling, his speed turn was terrible against the Patriots. Needs to be coached up ASAP. And to be honest, Backwoods aren't cool. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Tony Oden's one of the best in the business, who I love. I think he's a future defensive coordinator in the National Football League. So I'm not sure if it's Sauce. Man, it's hard to believe it'd be Tony because he's such a great coach. Look at what he's done with DJ. Look at what he's done with Brandon Eccles. Look at what he's done with Quantez behind the scenes. Like, man, Tony Oden is an awesome coach. So I'm not sure what it is, why there is this regression from Sauce. Is he overthinking things? Did things get to his head? But again, I'm speculating here, right? Like he's been told he's all that in a bag of potato chips. He seems to always have good answers to the media on that. I'm never complacent. I always have things to work on, which we love. But like seeing the results of this season, it makes you think twice for sure. But yeah, it's hard to blame. It's hard for me, to point at the coaching because the coaching is awesome. I love Tony Oden. But you never know, I guess. You never know. But good super chat. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Go back to the calls here in just a second. Nixie says the PFF metrics are hilarious, but I don't know, to be honest. I'm not a coach. I don't know how to. I played corner in high school, but outside of PFF metrics, how else do we analyze and rate some of these players from a grading standpoint? I don't know who else to look at to get proper rankings or assessment on things. So, you tell me. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. We got, a lot of people have been talking about this guy today. NY Jets FL joins us here on the show.
Morning. Beautiful day in Florida.
Looks like
Paul.
it. Yeah.
I heard my name uttered a lot. So I figured
popular guy.
I missed Phil 98's points, so I'll have to go back and re-listen.
Sure.
But that's because somebody doesn't agree with your philosophy, doesn't, you need to get over it. I mean, I just have a different philosophy. We can all move on at some point. There's other things to worry about other than team building at this point. But I won't mention the Phil though. I will not mention the fact that Brandon Eccles has more interceptions than Sauce this year. Okay, I won't drop that. Okay.
Okay, that's important.
So let's not even go there. So
doesn't he have? I'm pretty sure we only have 2 picks on the year, and I'm pretty sure that Brandon Eccles has both of them.
Oh, geez, even worse.
Which
even
I didn't
worse.
even think about till now, but that's true. The Tennessee one and what's the other one? Is that Minnesota? Yeah, unbelievable.
Oh,
Wow,
yeah.
he has both of
Yeah.
them. That's brutal. That's brutal. Come on, team.
Yeah.
Come on, team.
Yeah. Yeah. I won't go back. I'm not gonna go back to my original premise. I was
Okay.
gonna say my original premise is blowing the team up if we look like crap. That was my original premise. On to moving forward here. I'm actually interested in watching the Chargers. Obviously red zone
Browns
today,
game.
but the Chargers. Yeah, I mean the Browns could be. I mean they may not be out of it. They may be out of it, but I mean that's a tough game for the Chargers. I'll be honest with you.
Who are you rooting for? So let me ask you, as a fellow Jets fan, right? So we have a couple of those situations. So the Chargers Browns one's a good one. I have all the records in front of me. So Chargers are 4-3, Browns are 2-6. If the Browns win, they're 3-6 like the Jets, but that means they're in the conversation. The Chargers are 4-3. If they win, they're 5-3, and they get further away from the Jets. It's a team they're competing with that they don't play against this year. They don't play against Cleveland either, but there's a couple of those games where a team can either muddy the waters and get everyone closer together or separate. Do you prefer teams separating? I don't know if you could say that in a vacuum, generically speaking on everybody, because maybe everything's case by case. But do you prefer the people coming back together or kind of expanding and people separating so we have clear losers and clear winners, and then the line's kind of more defined?
It's a good question, Paul. I think I would just rather have the teams for now lose that are in front of us, and then
we'll figure out the rest later.
We go week by week. I don't think we have much of we don't have much of a choice.
That's a
you
good
know
point.
what I mean?
Yeah, being very 1%er of like, what would I prefer? Yeah, like how about just the teams in front of us lose so we can catch up? That's probably a good point.
Well, I understand the theory, but Cleveland's got a good defense and they played well last week. So I would love to see the Chargers, lose. Obviously, I would love to see the Bills lose, but I don't know if they can lose to the Dolphins. They just dominate that team. So
yeah, they have. They've won 5 in a row. For people who don't know, the Bills have won 5 in a row against the Dolphins, and they've won 12 of 13. The only game in the 12 of 13 that the Dolphins won was a very bizarre hot weather game in September where there was players overheating all over the place, and the Bills just ran out of time at the end where they almost won that one last second, or the Bills would have won 13 in a row against the Dolphins. So what we have to ask ourselves is desperation, right? Obviously the Dolphins are incredibly desperate at 2-5. Is that enough with the talent and everything? I don't know. Yeah.
Well, let's say this, Paul, you flip a coin, you expect to get a 50% head, 50% tail. Maybe at some point, the Dolphins will find a way to win, despite maybe not having the same talent level this year as the Bills. But Bills are a tough team. Anyway, I wanted to call in. I'll go back and listen to I'm sure the compliments from some people about my theories. So, but that never bothered. Stuff doesn't bother me, Paul.
Okay, well,
so
good.
I'll listen to all the wonderful people talking about my great team building skills. So that's why I'm not a GM, Paul. Have a great day. Okay. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Appreciate you guys. All right. Let me go back. There was another super chatter question. Oh, yes, we did have a super chat. 1 second here. Where was it? Here it is. Tony Alexio. Every time I get a super chat again, Zariah chimes in. Wow. All right, A-Rod's worst season is better than any quarterback we've had in decades. Again, Aaron Rodgers' stats so far this year: 15 touchdowns, 7 picks. He has 2,100 yards and 62% completion percentage. Aaron Rodgers has more passing touchdowns than any quarterback the Jets have had since 2019, and that's halfway through the season. We had an embarrassing stretch of time where we didn't have a quarterback throw 10 touchdown passes in a single season for like 4 years. So, we're already there with Aaron Rodgers. So, to be honest, I am glad to see this. We haven't seen this in a long time. I want Aaron Rodgers back. I believe he's coming back. So, appreciate the super chat, Tony Alexio. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's been better. Again, he hasn't been perfect by any means. It's not the MVP year we thought we could possibly get in a 1% scenario. It has not been that. But there's a lot of season left. And he looked really great in that second half. He had like an 84% completion percentage, 15 of 18, 3 tutties, no turnovers, just under 200 yards passing. Aaron looked great there. And hopefully with only 2 games in the month of November, he can really heal up and soak in this team and get us there from that perspective. Absolutely. That would be wonderful to see if we can get there. Another YouTube super chat coming in. We're appreciating all the love, baby. Thank you. The super chats help support the show. Wow. Jetted out. That loss to Pittsburgh hurt. Best to hope Ravens dominate the division and Sauce will be fine. Fans said the same thing about Quinn and Garrett Wilson. That's a good point. Quinn Williams got roasted his first couple of years before he finally made that jump, which was that double-digit sack season. They got the first-team All-Pro and all the other honors. So it's a very fair point by Jetted out. We forget about that Quinn Williams saying, yeah, the Pittsburgh loss hurt. The Patriot loss hurt, of course. I mean, it was devastating. So a lot of these Bills loss hurts. I mean, so many of them hurt. To be honest, the NFC ones are a little bit easier to kind of put away. And, like Vikings, like, oh, well. 49ers, like, oh, well. Like, it's a little easier in theory to kind of put those in the basket. The conference ones are brutal, absolutely brutal. But the good news is the Jets are still alive. They still have hope. They still have opportunity. Now, they're the ones that are going to have to stack it. Aaron Rodgers said back after week 3, let's see how the Jets handle success. Spoiler alert, not well. They lost 5 in a row. Now they've won again. Can they pair them together? Won't be easy against Arizona again. We're going to get more into Arizona in the coming days to get you ready for that one. That's a good conversation to have. But, yeah, a lot of those losses hurt for the New York Jets. There's no question about it. Absolutely no question about it. All right, one more super chat, and then we'll get back to the phone lines here. We got Jetted out again. Appreciate you. Wow. Go figure. How ironic is this? Joe Douglas's best pick? Will McDonald. Who would have friggin' thunk it? Just under double-digit sacks so far this season. Jetted out with a super chat. Oh, Will McDonald was a bust also. Remember that. Yeah, good times. Good times. All right, let's head back to the phone lines. We got our big Islanders fan joining us. What's up, brother?
Hey, how are you today, Paul?
I'm doing wonderful. Thanks for calling in.
No, I'm just, it's ridiculous, these people that want to trade Sauce Gardner and Brees Hall, and we're going to get rid of every one of our top players. They're not that easy to find in the draft. It's just ridiculous. I don't know where these people are coming up with this stuff.
Yeah, I don't.
The other thing that people forget about Rodgers, he had no protection in the beginning of the year, and he got killed in that Viking game. I mean, he hasn't been on 2 good legs the whole damn season. All right. Last week we got to see him a little bit starting to move around again and getting better. I think I think I called you months before the season. And the whole key to the season was keeping this guy healthy and upright. And they haven't been able to do that, with the offensive line.
Yeah.
And hopefully at some point this changes, because I don't know how many hits he could take, but last week we saw a little bit of a difference in Rodgers in the second half. Obviously, he wasn't that accurate in the first half, but you could see when he scrambled on that one play that was called back on the Fashanu hold, he was able to move around.
It was cool to see. Yeah. That was a fire up moment. I talked about it the other day on the show that it gets wiped away to your point because of the Fashanu holding, but he white man jukes a couple of people Aaron Rodgers style and gets inside the 5. You're like, damn, okay, there you are, Aaron. And again, my hope is with the rest. The Jets only have 2 games in the entire month of November. They got their bye week in there. They have the Thursday night game that just happened, which gives us the mini bye. So they have all this extra rest. We'll see. Hopefully, if they can take advantage of it, we could get a healthier Rodgers. That could take us to another level.
Yeah, well, I hope so. I hope he comes back next year. And I just I hope we don't turn around and break up the team. But the guy I think they should hire, because we're in such a short window here.
Of course,
I would hire Pete Carroll as a head coach next year.
Bring him back. Okay.
For you know what, he'll take the job. I mean, he's 71? He's a young 71.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's so full of energy. How do you not love Pete Carroll? So
he's so full of energy, and you know what, he can bring in some of his own people.
73. So he just turned 73 in September. There you go. Young 73.
I think he would take the job if it was really realizing that it's a short window. He probably would only be here for like 2 years, and then he goes off into the sunset. Yeah. But the other thing I want to say about Albrecht is, was a guy given a fast shot here. He didn't get a chance to hire his own coaches. They threw him into a terrible situation. I mean, I feel bad for the guy. I feel like he was just set up to fail. Yeah. And now it's probably going to cost him a head coaching job down the line.
Probably true. Yeah. Based on what happened here.
Unless shockingly he gets this thing turned around. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah,
I'm an optimist. I'm hoping for 9 straight.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. That'd be
All
awesome.
right, Paul. I don't want
Thanks
to
for
keep
calling.
you too much longer.
That's
There's other
okay. I
people
appreciate you
waiting.
calling in, man. Thank you.
All right. You have a great day.
All right, you too. Until next time. Yes, and congratulations to Liv and Cody, our first Crown Jewel winners, the best of the best. They don't get to keep the championship belts, apparently, so that should have been in the fine print of the contract. But no, I appreciate it. Appreciate the call. Phenomenal. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if Ulbrich was set up to fail. Did he not get to pick his coaches and stuff, obviously, with this opportunity? But, I thought with Aaron Rodgers and the talent on this team, I thought he had the greatest runway of any interim coach in history to potentially win the job full time. We'll see if he can turn it around. I am an optimist, and after that win against the Texans, you think that potentially they can go on a run. And we'll repeat it one more time because I have someone just joining us, Clap_City here, saying what's happened with DJ. Just tuned in. There's an article in the YouTube description that you guys can check out down below. That's all the details. But long story short, depending on the result of this Week 9 Jets-Texans Thursday Night Football game, the most attractive trade piece the New York Jets had on their team was DJ Reed. And they could have traded him potentially for a third or fourth round pick, but according to NFL insider Diana Rossini, the Jets will not be trading DJ Reed. It looks like they will be keeping him. And again, is that the right decision or wrong decision? Do they re-sign him? Does he just leave in free agency? Who knows all that jazz? But the Jets are all in on this season and what can happen moving forward. Well, everybody, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the show, and sorry to the other callers I can't get to. I apologize. We're up at an hour and a half here, and there's a family here at the house. And I want to let you guys know that there will be, it looks like at this point, no Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning. I know we've been on a streak of doing all these Boy Green Dailies. The baby's coming. The baby is coming, at some point this week, it looks like. So the hospital and all these other things are going to happen. So the schedule will be a little up in the air, guys, but just stay tuned. Appreciate you. Thank you to the 500 people that are watching live right now. So make sure you guys like the video, hit subscribe. It's all good news and things that are happening here, which is amazing. So we'll keep you guys posted and keep you abreast on everything. But it looks like no Boy Green Daily tomorrow morning, but we'll keep you guys posted. Like I said, as information comes, you don't, I know this I already had one baby, but this is our second baby coming, man. So we'll keep you guys posted on all the Jets content and everything else. But yeah, like I said, at this current moment in time, it appears that is not happening tomorrow. So that will break our Boy Green Daily streak, but for all good reasons with family. So God bless. Thank you, everybody, for all the support. It's meant a lot. And as soon as we can, we'll introduce you to PE3, Paul Andrew Esden III, the birth of my son. And hopefully we'll have great information on that coming up. Again, guys, like the video, hit subscribe. That's a free way. All of you guys can contribute to the program, which we appreciate. If you like to go the extra mile, you can always join the Boy Green Coffee Club to help support me and my family. If you enjoy the show, you get a laugh or whatever this show is able to do for you guys, can always join the Boy Green Coffee Club in the YouTube description down below. Join the Boy Green Coffee Club here. Appreciate it. God bless, and we'll be back on as soon as we can. Enjoy a football Sunday, everybody.